Okay, hi, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to wait another minute for some additional folks to hop on, and then we'll get started with our program. Thank you so much for joining us. Great. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to join us today. My name is Cassie Kiefer, and I'm an analyst and recruiter with the County of Santa Clara Human Resources Department. I am very excited to bring you another version of our live speaker series today. This is a series of events we've been doing to connect you to our county departments, to connect our county departments to the public, to learn about the many exciting and rewarding career opportunities here at the County of Santa Clara. So today, I have the great pleasure of being joined by several members of the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office. We have both sworn and professional staff here to speak with us today about the department and some of the great career opportunities that they have open right now. One note before we begin. This event is being recorded, and you will be able to watch this recording again afterwards on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. We're going to have a short discussion with our panelists, and then after that, they will take some time to answer your questions that were submitted in advance through our event registration form. If you think of any other questions that you want to ask our team as we talk, please feel free to type them into the question and answers or Q&A box here on Zoom. Not the chat, please use the Q&A box. I have a whole team of people working in the background to help support us and answer your questions live as we're speaking. If you are not on Zoom with us right now and are watching from LinkedIn or one of our other streaming platforms, please put your question in that site's chat box. While we aren't monitoring those platforms right now, we will do our best to get back to you after this event ends. So one additional note I wanted to give before I get started. Throughout this event, you'll see a QR code behind me there. If you scan that, it'll take you to gosheriff.org. That is our Sheriff's Office recruiting page where you can learn about all of our current career opportunities, subscribe to our various job notification email alerts, and learn a lot more about this department, the application process, and our exceptional county employee benefits. So with that said, I'd like to take a few minutes now to start by introducing you to our panelists. So for each of our guests, I'd like you to please introduce yourself and tell us all a little bit about your background and how you got started working with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office. And first, I wanted to start with Sergeant Blankart.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being in attendance here with us today. We feel very honored to be able to share what we do in our profession with each and every one of you today. A little bit about myself. I've been with the Sheriff's Office for 11 years now. I am currently the sergeant of our backgrounds and recruitment unit. So anybody who is going through the process or hopes to go through the process at some point, be more than happy to meet you, interact with you, and try to help you through this process. It is lengthy, but it's definitely doable. One thing I would like to share about myself, I grew up in Santa Clara County in San Jose. I had a passion for law enforcement at a young age, but it was always a goal of mine to earn my degree first. So went to college at San Jose State, completed that, and then started applying for the agencies in Santa Clara County, picked me up first. And I'll tell you right now, it's been a blast and the best decision of my life so far. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. We're lucky to have you. Great. Next, we'll go to Deputy Stanford.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deputy Stanford. I've been with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office for about 7 years now. I work on our enforcement side, and I'm currently assigned to our backgrounds and recruiting unit. So when you come out to the physical agility testings or any recruitment events, you'll most likely see me or one of my counterparts here in the unit. Uh, I've worked in headquarters patrol division as well as our VTA division on patrol, as well as previously I was a field training officer and I help instruct at the academy with current recruits that are currently in the academy right now.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Next, let's go to Deputy Ortiz.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Deputy Maritza Ortiz. I have 7 years with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office. I am from the Custody Bureau. So I started at Elmwood, worked both facilities, men's side and the women's facilities. I was a jail training officer there. And I'm currently assigned here at the Background and Recruiting Unit. I'm very excited to be here. I grew up in Oakland, but raised here in San Jose. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Next, let's go to Deputy Percy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deputy Percy. I've been with the Sheriff's Office for about 5 years now. I've been on the custody side, working at Main Jail across the street over here. Recently joined the Backgrounds Unit back in May, and excited to bring more awesome people into this agency and just learn.
Wonderful. Hopefully some of the folks that are watching will join you soon. Great. And finally, let's go to Brooks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brooks Giroux. I'm actually the Senior Communications Officer for the Office of the Sheriff. So I oversee the Media Relations Unit, and I've only held this position for about a year. I'm what you would call a professional staff member. I'm not a sworn deputy. I actually have more than 15 years in television, news, and journalism experience, and I made the transition from a local news station. And for me, it was really I needed something that was more stable where I could prioritize my own health. I could have the holidays off. I could get some great benefits. And I found I'm still able to really serve the public and my community by sharing information and the stories of the people and the events and the initiatives that are all happening here at the Sheriff's Office. And what I really love about this organization is the diversity of skills that people have, their backgrounds, and all the opportunities that allow everyone to learn, but also really feel valued. So it's great to be with all of you today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Brooks, sharing your mission and what drives you to come here to tell these stories. So, great. Well, I'm very excited that you got the chance to meet all of these folks now. Now I'd love to get into our main discussion. So the questions we're going to talk about today, I've got them organized into a couple of different sections. We'll first start to learn more about the department. So I wanted to learn, I'm going to ask this question to you, Brooks. Can you tell me a little bit about the primary goals of your organization, the Sheriff's Office?
Well, really, the principal mission of any law enforcement organization, including the Sheriff's Office, is protection of life, protection of property. It's very challenging in the current climate we're in, but we really want to build public trust with honesty, with integrity. We value our community, and our mission statement, if you look on our website, says we're dedicated to the preservation of public safety by providing innovative and progressive service in partnership with the community. So all of us consider really the Sheriff's Office home. It's home to the crime fighters, home to the custody care providers, home to the talented people, the driven people, and the fearless. And we actually have shirts that say this. They say, unleash your potential. I don't know if you can see that here, but that's kind of one of our little mottos we've picked up here. And it's what we're all about. Give you the opportunity to be the best version of yourself, all while still maintaining and being in service to the community.
Wow, thank you so much, Brooks. That's wonderful. You touched on a couple of things, the service to the community, working in partnership with the community. I think that's really important. This is a collaborative organization that is part of our community, and we appreciate you. Next, what communities does the County of Santa Clara Sheriff's Office provide services to? I'm going to ask that to Deputy Stanford.
Yeah, so the interesting part about being part of the Sheriff's Office is our communities are the entire county. So we have all the unincorporated areas within the county, and just to paint it in a little perspective, our county borders San Mateo, Santa Cruz, San Benito, Merced, Stanislaus, San Joaquin, and Alameda County. So there's a lot of area that is rural or unincorporated. So we have 3 divisions that primarily take part in our enforcement, which are Headquarters Patrol Division, which handles the eastern part of San Jose into the rural hills all the way to the other county lines, as well as central San Jose all the way down south to Morgan Hill, San Martin, and Gilroy unincorporated areas. As well as in our West Valley Patrol Division, we have 3 contract cities. Those are Cupertino, Saratoga, and Los Altos Hills. We provide full police services for those cities. And then as well as we have Valley Transit Authority, so the VTA line, so buses, light rails, bus stops, and property of the VTA are all under the sheriff's office jurisdiction and where we respond to calls for service in terms of enforcement. So we're really dealing with a lot of the communities all around the whole county, which is a unique thing with the sheriff's office, as opposed to a smaller city or just within the city. It's kind of the whole county. So we kind of are able to engage in communities throughout everywhere.
Yeah, that's quite a diversity of jurisdictions. You're talking about these rural communities and parks, but then you are in urban communities going through the VTA line and those contract cities that you work with. So that sounds like you get to do a lot of different things. There's great diversity and maybe in your day-to-day of what you're doing.
Yes, exactly.
Great. Let's see. So law enforcement professionals and aspiring law enforcement professionals have a lot of options in the agencies they can go to work for. What would you say sets your organization apart? I'm going to ask that to Deputy Percy.
Oh, that's a good question. I think obviously, pay is important, benefits are important. So I'd never undersell that, but we'll get into all that later. For me, what's important is really opportunity and the cultural environment, right? And I think with the sheriff's office here, you can mobilize, you can promote vertically, you can do that horizontally as well. So you can promote through the ranks. You can be a sergeant, you can be a lieutenant, a captain, an assistant sheriff for both bureaus, from custody to enforcement. But also we have specialized positions, so you don't necessarily have to promote. You can just move into backgrounds and recruitment. For custody, we have gang intel, classification. Enforcement, we have the CERT team, dive team, bomb teams, multiple other teams that you can join. So that growth, I think, is really important to this generation and important for me, just for personal advancement, personal growth, whatnot. So I think that's important. But as far as the culture goes, being a little kid, I remember interactions with law enforcement were not always positive for my family. But with the sheriff's office, they were always positive. They remembered my family members by names, even if it was not for a good reason, right? So just dealing with the sheriff's office, I think, has always left a positive impression on my life. Yeah, so that's important to me.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that perspective and your personal story, your family's experience. So. I'm going to ask a similar question to Deputy Stanford. Can you give me your perspective on why would you suggest someone come to work for the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office?
Yeah, to echo what Deputy Percy said as well, the variety of work assignments here at the Sheriff's Office. We're a big department where we have a bunch of unique opportunities where you can work in different assignments. You're not just stuck working in a patrol car and patrolling different areas or working inside of a jail facility for your entire career. You can move into different assignments. We have a civil warrants division where they serve evictions as well as they serve warrant services. We have a bunch of detective assignments for both sides. You can be a detective in the enforcement bureau as well as through the custody division as well. A big thing too is that we're a big department, but it also feels small enough that we get to know everyone here. You kind of don't get lost and are just looked at by as a number. Everyone kind of knows everyone and you get along with all your coworkers pretty well. As well as our salary and benefits. We have pretty competitive salary right now. If you take a look at our website, top step for enforcement deputy positions is about 166,000, give or take with some change. And for our corrections position is about 153,000, give or take. And that's not including overtime and other type of incentives that will increase that salary annually. We also offer a PEPRA retirement, which is 2.7 at 57 years old. So you have a pension, which is hard to come by in today's day and age. So that's a good thing to have.
Pension, correct?
Correct. That's a CalPERS
Okay.
pension through the state, as well as we are able to put in money through your paycheck into deferred compensation, which would be a separate type of retirement that you can build up over time over investments. As well as the biggest thing that we have is we have county benefits. So we have full coverage for health, dental, and vision. Those plans can include through Kaiser or through Valley Health. So through like VMC and other county hospitals, as well as through Health Net, which would be if you want to go through a private provider. But those are all covered, and those are extremely hard to come by in today's day and age. And those are things that really set us apart from other departments.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. As a recruiter myself, I'm working with departments across the county and across the board. This is an agency that has excellent and generous benefits and competitive salaries and generous benefits package. So I'm glad you highlighted some of those components within your department, as well as the sheriff's office, the ability, the mobility that you have to advance to different positions and find growth opportunities both within your department. Next, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the culture at the Office of the Sheriff. And I've heard that employees' health and wellness is a priority. So I wanted to send this back to Brooks for his thoughts on employee health and wellness and why this is a good agency to work for.
Well, I have to say, our sheriff, Robert Johnson, he has a slogan. It's be fit, be well, be more. So here there is a true focus on your personal well-being, both physically, but also mentally. We're actually one of the few organizations that has a full-time health and wellness coordinator. And so she is actually available all the time for personalized one-on-one wellness coaching sessions, courageous heart training, which offers resilience, compassion, and leadership training. We also have something called a peer support team, which can help you through those tough times, or if you're facing that trauma in the field. We also have a healthy meal service at several of our facilities so people can eat better. We even have a wellness app that provide all kinds of tools and resources for your overall wellness. So that's really just one of the aspects that sets us apart, is that focus on wellness. We also have a couple other slogans at the sheriff's office, and one is challenge your limits, because we want to push everyone to be their personal best. And there are really a lot of opportunities to try new things and set new goals, and never let anyone get too comfortable. So there are chances, as some of the deputies said, to move around and work with different teams. And like we say, we want you to truly unleash your potential. That's our other slogan. So I got to get that in there.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing those slogans. The importance of these ideas and where they came from, and how important employee wellness is. That's so important. We've all learned how important that is in the last couple of years and everything we've been through. So I really appreciate hearing about how the sheriff's office has made employee wellness a priority. Great. Next, I'd love to talk a little bit about our application and our hiring process. The Sheriff's Office has a unique within the county application and hiring process, and as well as onboarding and training process. So I'd love to talk a little bit about that. Let's see, I'm going to talk to Deputy Ortiz here to get us started. Can you give us a quick summary of the steps that an applicant would go through as part of their original application and the background check process?
Yes, absolutely. So there's 8 steps total in the application process: submitting your application, written exam, physical exam, pre-background interview, background investigation, a polygraph test, psychological examination, medical evaluation, and final interview with command staff.
And to clarify, that is for sworn positions. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great. Yeah, I see we have a slide we're showing that outlines the steps of the hiring process. We have different graphics for both the 8-step process for sworn applications, as well as the non-sworn positions, and then we'll talk a little bit more about. Great. And Deputy Ortiz, can you tell me a little bit about what the timeline's like for all of this?
Yes, absolutely. The timeline is between around 4 to 6 months from beginning to end.
Okay. Great. Thanks for sharing that. And as an applicant, if you have any questions about the timeline or what your path looks like through the application process, you can always reach out to to our team, our HR department, the recruitment team, or anyone here to ask any questions that you have about the path. We don't want there to be any surprises. We know this is a comprehensive system, and we want to make sure that you understand where you're at every point. And if someone's considering applying for, I guess we'll start with one of our sworn positions. What can a candidate do to prepare for the application process? I'm going to ask that to Deputy Percy.
Right. So to help yourself prepare for the application process, I think you just want to think about being thorough and you want to think about being prepared, right? This would be a career in law enforcement. And when applicants show up and they're thorough and prepared, it makes a difference, the impression that you leave upon us, right? So have a good understanding of your background prior to applying, right? Know how many tickets you've had, how many vehicle collisions you've had, right? Just start gathering this information so that you can come in here and communicate that with us in an effective way, as opposed to coming in here and having to think or wonder if you had this or that. If there's anything derogatory in your past, maybe you had an account sent to collections in your credit report. Make sure you're taking actionable steps towards that and you're not just being negligent and leaving it alone and assuming that we're going to be okay with that, right? If you have anything derogatory in your past, make sure you're just taking actionable steps towards that, and you can show that, hey, maybe I haven't been able to pay this off right now, but I've communicated with them. I've attempted to set up a payment plan so that we can see that you're diligent in at least handling the troubles that you faced in your life, right? As far as your interview goes, think about the questions you're going to be asked. Don't be generic. Elaborate on your responses. Everybody is hardworking. Everybody is passionate. How are you hardworking? How are you passionate, right? Can you speak to those things? Can you speak to your interpersonal skills, your ability to de-escalate? These things that we do in law enforcement. Can you elaborate on why you have those skills, right? That's how you can prepare yourself better.
Wonderful. I would love to expand on this with you, Deputy Percy. Next, I did want to talk about the California Peace Officer Standards, because I believe that some of the things you just mentioned touched on that. So all applicants for Sheriff's Deputy and Correctional Deputy positions are expected to meet the California Peace Officer Standards as part of their background check. Can you tell me a little bit more about this, what this means and what's included in this review?
Right. So for those who don't know what POST is, it's our Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Testing, right? So it's essentially a governing body who creates minimum standards for us alongside state minimum standards and qualifications to hire candidates. So essentially there's California government codes, which say, hey, you need to be 21 years old. You need to not have any felonies. You need to have a high school diploma or GED equivalent, right? Those are the California state requirements. POST goes a little bit further and makes their own minimum standards for peace officer agencies, right? So some of their things are written tests. That is a POST guideline. The written test that you take when you're applying, the oral interview, a thorough background investigation, a medical evaluation, making sure you're fit for duty, and a psychological evaluation. So these are some of the requirements that come from POST that we all have to adhere to as participants in that agency.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. This test is a comprehensive evaluation of your fitness to do this job, and it does include some categories that applicants may not think of originally. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the training academy. If you're selected to move forward with the process, you would, for our sworn positions, you would join one of two different training academies. Can you tell us a little bit about what that training academy experience is like? And I'm going to ask that to Deputy Stanford.
Yeah, so the academy, once you're selected and you get sent to the academy, our academy is you're paid to attend. So you're an employee as attending the academy, which is great because you're paid to basically train and learn how to prepare yourself for day one of the field training program. The academy is comprehensive for both sides, for enforcement as well as corrections. You'll learn everything you need to know to prepare you for that day one of starting your career as a law enforcement officer. It's there's classroom instruction, so you'll be learning, reading, writing, trying to learn as many laws and policies and procedures as you can, as well as it's going to be physically demanding. There's a lot of physical fitness in the academy. It's actually one of the tested criterias. That's why we have a physical agility test prior. And we usually tell everyone to expect that's just a little thumbnail of what the actual academy is like. We pride ourselves, as Brooks had said earlier, in being physically fit, as well as you'll be tested in scenario-based trainings where you'll receive different types of scenarios and be tested and evaluated on how you would perform those as if you were a peace officer. The academy is long and it's strenuous, but it's very rewarding. As well as we like to say, this career is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You have to take it day by day and work through those things. Our academy is located in Morgan Hill, and it's not a live-in. You would have to commute or travel in there, and it's usually about 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, depending on holidays, as well as if there is any training done at night or anything like that. But in terms of the academy itself, it can be about 3 months long for the correctional academy, and it is about 7 months long for the enforcement academy. The training we provide is top notch in the state. We go above and beyond what Post recommends. Post is about 624, 648 hours for minimum. We go about 1,000 hours of training for the enforcement position, as well as we go over the requirements for the corrections to make sure our deputies leaving our program are the most trained we can get them to be. And if you have any other questions in terms of the academy, those can also be found on our website for preparation in terms of types of physical fitness training or some samples, as well as you can contact us and we can talk to you one-on-one on the side if there's anything you're worried about on the physical preparation of the academy wise.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, you said that both of the academies are paid during the duration of that time. Are members of the academy eligible for benefits? I believe that was a question that someone here watching asked us in the RSVP for the event. Do you know are members of the academy eligible for benefits?
They are, as well as it's about $49 to $50 an hour right now, starting as a recruit in the academy. And they'll go through HR prior to being sent to the academy, and they'll fill out all their benefits package and pages like that.
Wonderful, thank you. So it is paid, and then I assume at the completion of the successful completion of the academy, then and you're working in the full role, then there'd be a promotional salary increase.
Yeah, you'd be considered at a cadet level through the academy, and then once you're past the academy, you receive your post certificate of completion of an academy, and you're sworn in as a deputy sheriff. Then you would start at the deputy sheriff level 1, and that's where your pay would increase from that cadet level to the deputy sheriff 1.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And yeah, like Deputy Stanford said, this information is outlined on one of the pages on gosheriff.org. So you can find out more information about that there. And I apologize. My light just went out. But next, I wanted to talk about some of the opportunities we have in the department for both sworn and non-sworn staff. So I'd love to learn about some of the non-sworn or professional career paths in the department. And I'm going to ask that to Brooks.
Well, I have to say that, the sheriff's office would not be able to really fully operate without, the devoted and committed professional staff members we have. There's about 400 different careers covering a variety of fields. And the purpose is really to provide the sworn staff with that vital support they need so they can do their job on the streets and in the jails and in the courts. So what are some of those jobs? Well, we have our fiscal division, our records division, our information technology division, even jobs like a management analyst or an executive assistant. We're always trying to just recruit the best, the brightest, most diverse applicants as possible. And so that's where our professional staff and non-sworn positions come in. That also includes our Sheriff's Protective Services officers. They maintain security at county buildings, but primarily Valley Medical Center. And sometimes they may provide first aid, other medical services, but they do go through some training, and some of the other members on this panel would better be able to explain the requirements for those roles. But the answer to your question is there are a lot of opportunities for those who may not see the traditional law enforcement route on the horizon, but just like myself, I love coming to work every day, and I learn so much from being at a law enforcement agency.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing those options. I know a few folks that RSVP'd for this event did have questions about non-sworn opportunities. So thanks for giving us an overview of that. And for our sworn staff, we have opportunities in both community enforcement and in the custody or correctional settings. I'm going to ask Deputy Stanford if he can tell me a little bit about the difference between those two departments and the work that these officers do.
Yes, of course. So within our department, we have two different divisions. There's correctional division and there's enforcement division. Within the enforcement side, it's you're out on patrol. So you're patrolling through all those areas I talked about earlier, assigned to different divisions, which can range from, like I said, the West Valley Division, Headquarters, Patrol Division, Valley Transit, as well as our Parks Division. You're engaging in community engagement, responding to calls for service, investigating crimes. It's day-to-day patrol functions, and then as well as you can work in different assignments, like we had discussed earlier, between an investigations bureau, between special enforcement division. You can work in the civil warrants division. There's a bunch of different areas you can work, and as well as in our correctional side, you'll be working inside the jail facilities. But we also have transportation units where you're driving through different parts of the state to pick up inmates that have to come into our county to be processed. You can be a part of our gang intel unit. There's a K9 available. There's a dive team available for different units that you can do, as well as on both sides of the house. You can promote all the way up to sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and to assistant sheriff. So there's a lot of different areas to grow, and both have their own unique settings, depending on what you want to do and what you're more comfortable with. But both are the same benefits, a little bit different pay, but for the most part, you can take whatever career path or what your goals are, and you can make it work with whatever division you're in.
Wonderful. Thank you for giving an overview of these two divisions. What shifts are available for these positions, and is overtime available and required? I'm going to throw that out to Deputy Ortiz.
Yes, so we currently, for the custody division, we have 4 teams. We have A and B team that are day shift, and then we have C and D team, which are night shift, and they're all 12-hour shifts. That's for custody. For enforcement, we have days, mids, and swings, including 10-hour shifts and 12-hour shifts. The great thing about our department, there is overtime as in both divisions. A lot of our staff love to do overtime. If you have a family trip plan or whatnot, it's something that we're able to do. Is it required? At times, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. So we've talked about these opportunities for someone that is new, coming in as a new hire, as a cadet, coming into through the academy. We have a lot of experienced professionals who've already worked as a peace officer with other law enforcement or correctional facilities here in California. And they're looking for what are called lateral opportunities. Can someone tell me about those opportunities and why someone should consider bringing their skills to come and work for the County of Santa Clara? I'll ask that to Deputy Percy.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I'll actually defer to Sergeant Blancart on this question here. I think he'll have more expertise as far as laterals go.
Hi, Cassie. So
Hi.
one of the benefits, first of all, we do have a lateral incentive bonus right now. So if you have worked with your agency and you're no longer in the training program, meaning you passed it, you are eligible for a $40,000 sign-on bonus. Now, if you did not successfully complete your respective agency's training program, then you are eligible for a $20,000 sign-on bonus. So that's the benefit. And along with that, there are other incentives like you will be given 152 hours that's reinstated into your vacation bank to start with. And for the enforcement side, you're given a ratio of 1 to 2 years. So if you were at your agency for 10 years, you'll be given 5 years seniority with us. For our correctional deputies, you will get allowed to bid into our annual bump, meaning where you're assigned to. That could be a main jail or Elmwood, the Elmwood facility located in Milpitas. But really for laterals, what we're finding is they enjoy the county dynamic as opposed to a municipality, so a city police agency, because you have reign to the entire county. We have so many different opportunities. We work South County Patrol, which consists of Morgan Hill, Gilroy, San Martin, unincorporated areas of San Jose. We have contract cities, Cupertino, Saratoga, Los Altos Hills, in addition to a transit contract and a Santa Clara County Parks contract, which I've had the pleasure of working, and I could tell you it was a blast there. You're boat trained, so you operate boats in our county waterways. You're ATV trained, and you're four-wheel drive trained. So those are just some of the opportunities. As mentioned by Deputy Stanford, Deputy Percy, and Deputy Ortiz, there's just a wide range of opportunities. We are a larger agency, and with a larger agency comes more opportunity, such as working our investigative bureau, working our civil warrants division, where you're doing evictions and extraditions outside of the state. We have specialized units which have already been touched upon, but a lot of people I talk to tend to be really interested in being a canine handler. And currently we have 9 canine handlers, and there are more opportunities coming in that area. We've recently had a drone contract implemented. So now there are drone pilots who are being trained, and I tell you the training is certainly invaluable. And I think that there are a lot of people who desire to do that aspect of the job. So there's just a multitude of opportunity, and you put in the work, you will definitely be given the opportunity. We here today are a testament to that. We've worked our jobs, whether it be on patrol or in the jail, and we are in backgrounds in recruitment, which is a specialized position, and I could tell you it's very fulfilling to see the faces that we bring in, to see them go through the academy, graduate, and then become successful deputies. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing again this diversity of opportunities and some really fun and exciting opportunities that you can use to challenge yourself through your career. Next, I would like to move into the last section of questions, talk about your personal experience. What were some of the motivations? What were some of the things that made you decide to apply to the County of Santa Clara Sheriff's Office? I'm going to ask Deputy Percy about that because he bumped my last question.
There you go. I earned it. All right. So what was that? What made me decide to apply with this county? Right. So looking to get into law enforcement, there were 2 agencies I was interested in. It was this sheriff's office and a neighboring sheriff's office. Right off the bat, what interested me as a person who doesn't have any family or friends who work in law enforcement and had no experience or understanding of it was the pay and benefits. That initially was the draw for me, if I'm going to be frank and honest, right? Just having a new son and starting a new family and wanting to be able to provide for him in an effective manner. I thought this would be a great career to maybe even be a temporary stopgap as I figure out what it was I wanted to do while I was going to college. Coming into the agency, going through the academy, starting on my team at D Team Main Jail, working on the emergency response team, becoming an emergency response team leader, and then a jail training officer. The experience I gained working with really incredible people who were willing to pour into me. That's where I developed the actual passion for this career and helping people and realizing, oh, this is what I think I was designed to actually do. So originally it was just pay and benefits, and that's great. I love the fact that I can go on vacations and support my son and myself and help my family in different ways. But the thing that kept me here is the people I work with, culture we have here, the camaraderie that we have here, all the skills and training that I've received while being here, that was the keeper, I think. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. And what was it like going through the process of getting hired? I'm going to ask that to Deputy Ortiz. Can you share a little bit about your memories of the application process and the hiring process?
Yes, absolutely. The hiring process was quite easy for me. It was around 5 months. I had a constant communication with my background investigator. We're constantly emailing each other. She advised me what I had to have ready, so I prepared myself with that, having all the documents ready to go and advising my family, friends, and coworkers and supervisors, letting them know, hey, I'm going through this background investigation. I am applying for Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office. I was very supported by everyone, and I think that's what made this process faster and a little easier in some way, and including my background investigator. She was very honest, very open, and willing to work with my family members that did not speak English as well. So that was a little bump in the road, but at the end of the day, it was pretty easy, and it was a great experience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that perspective. And I hope that helps out anyone who's thinking about this process themselves. So with that said, I wanted to wrap up our main section of questions and get into your questions. So our viewers have answered questions, have asked some questions that they would hope we would take when they RSVP for this event. So I wanted to take a few minutes to go into those questions as we're a little bit more than halfway through this event. I also wanted to take a second to welcome anyone who joined late. We just listened to our esteemed panel of guests from the County of Santa Clara Sheriff's Office sharing their thoughts and experiences of working for this department. You'll be able to view this event in its entirety on any of our streaming platforms and our social networks after this event. So next, getting into our questions. As a reminder for anyone watching us on Zoom, please also feel free to ask any additional questions that come up in the Q&A chat box here below, and our colleagues can answer those questions live while we're speaking. But first, in terms of the questions that users submitted to us, a couple of folks asked about the lateral opportunities and what is the department looking for when hiring laterals? Also, what opportunities, if any, are there for custody laterals? Who wants to take that?
I can touch on the first part of the question.
Okay. Cool. What are you looking for when you're hiring laterals?
So we're looking for people that are one, interested in our department, looking for more opportunity and growth, as well as like Sergeant Blankar had said earlier, if you've graduated from a post-accredited academy and have a certificate of completion, you would qualify as a lateral coming in, and that incentive bonus of 20K would be something that you'd be considered for, as well as looking for people that have experience in other departments across the state that have either want more career growth here with our department or looking to change it up or see something new in this career field, because it is a long career and you want to look at multiple different opportunities that you have. The Sheriff's Office is a unique place to come and explore all our different opportunities we have here. In terms of what we're looking for in laterals, we're looking for people that are hard workers. They want to come in here and make the department a better place. They want to be a part of the team here and the culture that we've brought back to this agency in terms of being engaged in the community, wanting to put in the work, and as well as we were looking for people that are I kind of lost my train of thought, but we're looking for laterals that are ready to come over to the sheriff's office. And if you're out there and you would like to be part of the sheriff's office, you can feel free to reach out and talk to us about where you're coming from and what other opportunities we have here that your current agency might not have.
Wonderful. And so we have a couple of questions. You do have custody opportunities for lateral transfer. Is that correct?
We do.
Okay. Got it. I also have another question specifically about someone's experience working with the state. Can active duty correctional officers with CDCR, which I believe is California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, can folks with state experience lateral over?
Hi, Cassie. I'll answer that. So that's kind of a sticky situation there, only because in the past, CDCR doesn't provide the standards for training and corrections to their employees. And in order to lateral as a correctional deputy from CDCR, you need to provide us your STC training you received in the academy, in addition to your PC 832 firearms and arrest control techniques. And that has been a hurdle in the past.
Got it. So if the person, if anyone here is listening and they're currently CDCR, maybe reach out to the department, to the sheriff's office here to get information about that supplemental information, so you can make sure you're prepared. Great. We have a question from someone who's currently in the hiring process, and they're sharing their experience. They took the written exam for correctional deputy. My next step is to take the physical fitness test. I currently live in Arizona. My question, do you have a fast track process for candidates who live outside of state? What would you say to applicants that live outside of state?
I'll answer that one as well, Cassie. So
Great.
out-of-state applicants, we do not have a fast track system, unfortunately. However, we do our best, and we cannot promise, but we do our best to condense all the in-person requirements or components of the background into a week or two, if possible. And that's based on the scheduling of our third-party providers who administer the polygraph examination or the psychological evaluation, medical examination. So it's really just based on their availability, but we do our best to limit the amount of traveling back and forth.
Wonderful. So there is a process. They can reach out to you to try to consolidate some of these steps if they're planning a visit to.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Great. Next, we got a few questions about the Sheriff Protective Services Officer position, which is one of the non-sworn opportunities. Does the Sheriff's Protective Service Officer do vehicle patrols, and do they help in any situations with Maine deputies? Can anyone answer that?
Yeah, so for the current SPSO's position, like Brooks had touched on earlier, primarily they're around our Valley Medical Center.
Within
They
hospitals. Yes.
within the hospitals and outlying county facilities.
Mhm.
They would work under the deputies and sergeants assigned to those hospitals,
Mhm.
and work hand in hand in terms of dealing with different types of individuals there. That would lead up to a patrol response, or able to diffuse and de-escalate situations there on their own. They're provided some training, attending like about a 6 to 7 week academy right now as it stands. But they do apply, or they do participate in training, and then they do work hand in hand with deputies there at the hospitals. The opportunities there to learn and grow, if you are thinking about an enforcement or a correction position, to start out there if you want to test the waters, is a great opportunity that the sheriff's office now has. You can really learn how deputies day-to-day work and what the schedule is, the shift work, working nights. You kind of get it firsthand, and that will transition well if you were to apply for a sworn position. And if you kind of want to start out there, that's an opportunity here.
Wonderful. I don't know if you can touch on this, but that leads me into the other question we got was, what's the transfer process like in advancing from a Sheriff Protective Services Officer to a deputy sheriff's position? Can you talk about what that would look like?
Yeah, so you would to be hired, you complete a full background investigation for the position already. So then you would submit a memo for transfer in terms of wanting to apply for that position. If you were to be selected, then you would be sent to the academy of whenever you choose. So if you were to apply for the correction position, you would go to the correctional academy. If you apply for the enforcement position, then you would go to the enforcement academy to further your career. But the process is a little bit more streamlined because you've already been working here and employed in the sheriff's department, and then you would submit all your documents and everything necessary for the background process, but it'd be a little bit more streamlined as you're already working here for the sheriff's office.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. This does sound like a great opportunity if anyone is interested in, testing the waters, learning about the department and the role. The Sheriff's Protective Services Officer sounds like a great way to start if you're considering moving forward in the future to a deputy. Does anyone have any thoughts on how many tries does one have if they don't make it through the academy the first time? What would you say to someone that isn't able to complete the academy?
So I think it depends on case by case for the academy attendance. It depends on what it was for. Where did you fail out? What did you get hurt in the academy? Did you fail out? We are governed by post, so there's certain limitations to certain things. If you have applied or participated in an academy in the different part of the state and you apply with us and want to continue, you can use your knowledge and that you've gained from however much you completed from a different academy, and you can use that to your benefit in our academy. If you do apply and you are in the academy and for whatever reason you don't make it through, it just depends case by case on what it is. And at what point where you either withdrew or were failed out or whatever it was. But there's specific criteria that post governs in terms of what you can do. And what steps and tests you have to pass throughout the academy. And those are usually case by case, and it usually depends.
Okay. Great. Thank you for sharing that. So we got a few questions about the professional positions and administrative positions. One person watching has 15 years of experience as an executive assistant. Another is a current county employee in another department looking to transfer. So before, Brooks shared a little bit about those professional non-sworn positions available in the department. So I believe we covered that. Yeah, one thing I will add is that for a lot of our administrative roles, the County of Santa Clara, we have county-wide opportunities. So if you see a position like for an executive assistant that you'd like to apply for, do it. And you'll be considered for that position in some cases in multiple departments. And then the names on that list can be used in future recruitment. So even if there isn't a position open in the sheriff's office right now, but there is a recruitment for a position, administrative position you're interested in, go ahead and apply for it. And that may put you on the list to have your name shared with the sheriff's department if they open up an opportunity like that in the future. Does anyone else have any other things to share about administrative positions? Cool. The next question we got was about, do you have any website or documentation we can use to prepare for written exams? I'm going to take a stab at that one again. For this, I would direct people back to the department's website at gosheriff.org again. If you go to that site, you can click on the hiring process page, which links to a couple of study guides for the written exams. There's also a how to prepare page that provides a lot of other resources to prepare for the physical and agility exams and interview process that we've all talked about today. Does anyone else have anything else they'd like to add about that, preparing for written exams or the interview process?
Well, I think you covered it. Also on that hiring process tab, once you click under join us and you go to the hiring process tab, you'll see it in big bold under number 2, kind of similar to the graphic you put it up here earlier. There's a Pellet B preparation exam, and then there's a STCA examination booklet. You can look at those materials, and those are very helpful. That's actually what I use. If you're struggling finding it on the website, go ahead and Google Pellet B examination prep, and you'll be able to find it that way as well.
Great. Great. The next question, we got a few different questions about pay and benefits. I don't want to go into that too much because we have already touched on that, and it does vary widely based on the specific job title that you're applying for. So yeah, someone was asking about top pay and do you get a pay raise for promotion? So again, one thing I'll share is that as a public agency, all of our county salary ranges are public and completely transparent, and they're published directly on our job listings. You can find additional details about the salary ranges in various supplements, promotional increases, contracted increases, and timelines on our website at gosheriff.org. I think yeah, this was mentioned before. If you click on the salary and benefits page for more information, you can see information about those different salary supplements and incentive programs and the timeline for those. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share about salary and benefits? Cool. With that, I think the last question is what makes people stay with this department? Several of you have talked about what drew you into this position, what attracted you originally. What keeps you here? Would anyone like to take that?
I think what keeps people here is definitely the people you work with, the camaraderie and the different types of people that you get to interact with that you may not interact with in a different type of job setting or a different career field. As well as, I mean, our pay and benefits are very good in terms of supporting a family and making sure you're taking care of yourself as well as others. But also just the opportunity growth. You can work here and you're not stuck in the same assignment. If you get tired of patrol and burned out and you want to go work 8 to 5 Monday through Friday with holidays off, you can work in our courts division. If you want to work in the parks and be outdoors, you can go work in our parks division. If you want to promote, you can promote. So there's multiple different opportunities that kind of change it up, where you kind of feel like you have a new career every couple of years. That's unique to our department. I think that's what ends up keeping a lot of people, because you can kind of pick where you want your path to be. And if you're not happy in one position, you can move to another one. You might get a whole new experience and perspective. But yeah, I think it's our salary benefits, our different opportunities, and then just the people here at the sheriff's office that really make it a unique environment as being a part of the county.
Wonderful. This really is a place where you can unleash your potential. Great. Well, with that said, thank you everyone who submitted your questions in advance. Again, if you submitted any questions just now on any of our streaming platforms, we're going to do our best to answer them as soon as possible after this event. That wraps up our questions. So I wanted to thank everyone so much for joining us today. I'd also like to thank all of our speakers for taking the time out of their day to share such valuable information with us all. I want to encourage you again to visit the County of Santa Clara Sheriff's Office main recruitment focused website at gosheriff.org or use the QR code behind me. Again, this website has loads of information, including salary and benefits for all of the positions we've discussed today, tips and resources for test taking, interviewing and navigating the hiring process, and a lot more. So this is a really excellent resource for you to check out and to bookmark and save as you go through our application process. I'd also love to encourage you to find and follow the Santa Clara Sheriff's Office on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. They're on all of these platforms, and you can learn more about them and stay connected to learn more about the department culture and recruitment and training and information opportunities that they can share with you. I'd also like to encourage you to check out the resources provided by my department, the County of Santa Clara Human Resources Department. You can find all of our job seeker focused website at sccjobs.org. You can find our social media accounts there. Please give us a follow too, as we regularly share new career opportunities, career fairs, and hiring events, and other job seeker focused informational events like that. So please find us and connect with us there. Finally, if you have any questions for any of our speakers after this event, please connect with us directly by email at deisourcing@esa.sccgov.org. That's the email you can see at the bottom of this slide. Those emails will come into my team in HR, and we'll answer them or pass them on to the department if it involves a more detailed response. So last, thank you again to our speakers. Do we have any closing thoughts or anything else that any of our speakers would like to share with everybody before we wrap up?
Yes, I just want to thank everybody for being in attendance today, as I mentioned earlier. And if you are very interested in seriously considering applying with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office, just know that we do want you and we want to help you. So please reach out to our recruitment team at the website below. And we are responsive. We will get back to you immediately. And we use this as a resource. Oftentimes, people tend to fear talking to peace officers, but do not fear us. We want to talk to you. We want to help you. Thank you.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. This is a really helpful team, and they want this system to be transparent. Unleash your potential. Thank you. I just saw Brooks holding up his t-shirt there. So. I love it. Join us, unleash your potential. So thank you all. We look forward to connecting with you in the future. And most of all, we look forward to seeing your applications. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and have a great rest of your afternoon.